This is a called emergency meeting of the Alleghany County Board of Commissioners to discuss the declaration for the state of emergency. I'm going to ask Commissioner John Irwin to read that, then we'll have a discussion.
County of Alleghany, North Carolina, supplemental proclamation to the Alleghany County State of Emergency Order issued March 27th, 2020 at 1500 hours, 3 p.m. Whereas the Alleghany County Declaration of State of Emergency, which went into effect on March 16th, 2020, and North Carolina General Statute 166A authorizes the county to order certain restrictions that are deemed necessary for health, safety, and protection of the public, and whereas the Alleghany County Commissioners, by and through the chairman of the board, have determined that it is reasonably necessary to issue such a restriction, the primary purpose being to restrict non-essential travel into Alleghany County and consenting municipalities during this state of emergency, and now therefore, pursuant to the authority of the North Carolina General Statute 166A-19.31A and B, the undersigned chairman of the Alleghany County Board of Commissioners, acting with the consent of the mayor of the town of Sparta, hereby orders and declares, effective Friday, March 27th, 2020 at 5 p.m., all lodging facilities, for example, hotels, motels, resorts, inns, guest houses, bed and breakfast, campgrounds, RV parks, vacation cabins, home rentals, and any and all rental or leases by Airbnb, HomeAway, VRBO, and other rental programs or places where leases or use of any are for less than 60 days in duration shall be closed in Alleghany County, including in the municipality of Sparta, except exemptions as hereafter set forth. This order shall supersede previous made reservations. Work-related exemptions. This closure does not apply if a lease or extended overnight accommodation is due to work here in Alleghany County for business, medical, construction, emergency service, or other related services. In this situation, the employee staying at the lodging facility shall have their employer provide their work-related identification badge or a letter from the employer stating the purpose of the work to be performed in Alleghany County and the expected duration of the stay. Homeless shelter. This closure does not apply to lodging facilities housing authorized individuals in Alleghany County or as needed to house the homeless in an emergency related to the COVID-19 response. Emergency facility. This closure does not apply to a lodging facility if used as an emergency facility to assist with COVID-19 response. By and with the consent of the mayor of the municipality consenting hereto, this declaration of a local state of emergency applies within the municipal limits of the town of Sparta. This declaration is in addition to the executive orders referenced above, and should any provision thereof be declared invalid or unconstitutional by any court of any competent jurisdiction, such declaration shall not affect the validity of the declaration that as a whole or any part thereof which is not specifically declared to be invalid or unconstitutional. Any person who violates any provision of the declaration shall be guilty of a Class 2 misdemeanor in accordance with North Carolina General Statute Sections 166A-019.31 and 14-2 288.20A. All of the terms and conditions of the said local state of emergency declared on March 16th, 2020 shall remain in force and in effect. This declaration of a state of emergency for Alleghany County shall begin upon its adoption and shall remain in effect until May 15, 2020 at 5 p.m. unless extended or rescinded. If adopted.
Mayor West, Vinegar, you got anything you want to add?
No, we will follow the commissioner's lead on this in the county. As your vote, the town of Sparta will consent and hereto follow the outline of this emergency action.
To open this up for discuss or anything to make sure we got everything like everybody wants it? Yeah. Brian Maines.
If you don't mind, read the part in there again about the emergency shelter, homeless shelter. I was trying to listen closely to see if any language was in there relating to our local Dana group, the women's shelter, or in my opinion, we might need to add some language in there concerning, or at least put some thought into that.
I believe that the language.
If that language is not in there,
that language is in there and it would be covered as a shelter.
Okay.
Let me read this.
Yeah,
right
read that
here.
again, because what I heard was that relating to this virus. I didn't hear.
Backing up to section B here, homeless shelter. This closure does not apply to lodging facilities housing authorized individuals in Alleghany County or as needed to house the homeless in any emergency related to the COVID-19 response. The next paragraph is emergency facility. This closure does not apply to a lodging facility if used as an emergency facility to assist with the COVID-19 response.
Yeah, I don't think it covers that.
We'll need to back up and.
That would be my thought on it.
I think we can make it crystal clear.
Other than that, it sounds good to me.
Have we got enough about essential services in here?
Question, Bill. Who drew up the document?
Somebody in Ash County.
Straight.
The exact same one that Ash. In Ash, we don't know who did.
Have you read it yet?
I read the Ash County version and things that were. It tracks the Ash County for those things.
Bill, do you mind reading the part that contained the
Work-related?
exemptions? Yeah.
Work-related exemptions.
Mm-hmm.
Closure does not apply to a lease or extended overnight accommodation is due to work here in Alleghany for business, medical, construction, emergency services, or related services. In this situation, the employee staying at the lodging facility should have the employer provide their work-related identification badge or a letter from their employer stating the purpose of the work to be performed in Alleghany County and the expected duration of the stay.
I don't think it really laid a lot. I mean, it laid out some of the essentials, but not probably everything. I think maybe while Donna's adjusting that, maybe just a thought to consider is to just put a broad opening in there, just mentioning the word essentials. And then at that point, that would be up to law enforcement to look at and give law enforcement some common sense avenues to reach in there and do the right thing and try to enforce the heart of your order.
Essentials covers a lot of
It does.
stuff.
Most law enforcement officers, and I think most citizens would understand that. And also, I think there's state definitions to it too, that we could rely on for to proceed in any type of enforcement action that we may have to do.
We'll send that back and rewrite those two different parts.
Something to
Get a
consider. Thank you,
copy
guys.
once
Thank you.
the final version is,
Can't wait, we can't vote until the final version's in, we approve it.
you could vote upon Honor's recommendation.
Most-
May I ask while that is taking place? Sheriff, do you have anything else? Okay for him to address this
Yes, buddy.
situation
Yeah, certainly is.
while we,
Somebody needs to be typing.
Shelter, Dana, what exactly?
It's Dana.
Is there anything else that might be overlooking that we haven't had time to think about?
No, I think, I believe that the folks in Ashe County really put a lot of thought into that document. And I believe this group as a whole has put in a lot of thought too. That's not to say that tomorrow that new information might come in that, that your board may need to address. And as you've seen, you know, I've been watching, the president every day. I've been watching the governor as he speaks. I've been on conference calls with the CDC several times. I've been on conference calls with the chiefs of police in Washington State and also in New York, where this came in a large way early on in our nation. And it seems like we're getting the heart of it right. But just keep in mind, I would be willing, I would suggest to the board to always have the openness and willingness to understand that things change. And it's okay to come back and meet again and change again.
Hey,
Okay.
Drew, you don't need to leave yet, because there's one very important thing we haven't considered. Campground's already full. Gonna tell those people that have moved into the campgrounds to leave? Or is this only gonna cover people that are coming in after today? Saddle Mountain was full yesterday.
Longer than 6.
Yes. They own them.
They own them.
We don't know. They may have a few that they are renting that could be full.
Looks like if we implement that at 5 o'clock today, that we would,
If they're here, they're good. A lot of them do, but there's a few that are for weekend rental. Yeah. Well, these people are physically here. They're not reserving and coming in later. They are physically here.
They also own their property.
Yeah.
But how are you gonna know if somebody comes in Saturday night or Sunday night or?
You ask for the rental agreement from whoever's renting the lot to them.
You know, they just drive in.
you look at the dates.
You look at the dates, they've got to sign in.
I would think we'd have to go from 5 o'clock forward today.
I think education is key. You know, as enforcement goes on any topic, you know, you really try to rely a lot on education, telling people what's going on, going down that road, and the actual physical custody of things. That's last resort in most cases of doing things. But I was watching a commissioner meeting down the country yesterday, and they interviewed law enforcement and the board chairman about it, and basically they had the same question you guys did. How do you go about enforcing this? And his answer was, well, first of all, we're going to educate everybody. If we catch somebody that's in an honest violation unknowingly, we're going to educate them on the scene. And, enforcement comes, that would be their next step. And, those things are common sense approaches to things, and also keep in mind, it's very important to always, I'll stop right there. I'll back up and I'll get that one again in a minute, but.
I think it needs to be pointed out that if they're a property holder, and the county manager and I looked at that this morning, believe it or not, there are 3,000 second homes in this county. So we could potentially increase our population by 50%. This will not apply to them because they're paying property taxes. They're entitled to the rights of protection just like everybody else. So this is something that's going to be there.
I've spoken with several groups of folks that manage areas like we're talking about, and several letters have been sent out to frequent guests and members to dissuade these folks from coming to Alleghany County. Matter of fact, one of the club presidents, the conversation that I had with him was that he sent out a letter to all of those folks and made them aware of our healthcare facility here is not the same as their healthcare facilities, and how ours will not be able to withstand any major outbreak. And he has really put it strongly in the form of a letter requesting that these folks stay down below. So it's not just you guys that's really trying hard. It's the private sector's really stepping up to the plate, really trying to do what they need to do without any government, interference.
I believe I read where there's 70 counties that's implemented some stuff along the same lines as we're doing.
Mr. Chairman, I think if you look at the cases that have been confirmed in Watauga and the one in Alleghany, those were people who did traveling, a lot of traveling. And as small as we are, we still have people that go out of the state and out of the country for business and pleasure. But I think if we can keep the social distance and sort of try to stay at home as much as feasibly possible,
Yes.
is the way to cut this back and stop it. The enforcement I just see as a headache for you, and
We'll get through it.
common sense nowadays does not apply to a lot of people.
That's why I'm here. The folks that have no common sense.
Yeah, we need to try to enforce it and with common sense
Amen.
and move it
And we
forward,
will.
and
We will. I'm not a heavy-handed thing, except for a
right.
few things, drugs and some other things, and we'll do it politely, as Patrick Swayze said. Hey, we'll do it easy till we can't do it easy. So that's pretty much what we'll do. I want to echo what Bobby said. Bobby brought up some good points. I don't know if we're live or if this is televised, but it's very important for the citizens to stay at home, wash their hands. There's a rule of 20 seconds, 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes, wash them for 20 seconds. And, if you're out in public and you're touching things, wash them more often. But we would rather you not be out in public. We would rather you be at home. And the thing about it is, what we all have to remember is, I'm in good health. I come in contact with a lot of folks. But you know what? My dad is 81 years old right now. I'm not going to go see him. As much as I love my mom and dad, I'm not going to go see them right now. So that's kind of how I would like the citizens to respond, is just stay at home unless you have to come out. And if you come out, use social distancing, wash your hands constantly, and try not to touch stuff.
Let me read this add-on to where we get a clear understanding of that. Construction, emergency services, or any other person providing essential services. That's included on the work-related exemption. And down here about the Dana, says Dana Shelter. The closure does not apply to lodging facilities housing Dana clients. Is that satisfactory with everybody? Back to your question about the property owners versus the campgrounds, campers. Repeat that one more, we get that, if we add that to this.
I don't think we need to. I
Okay.
think it's superfluous.
I think the way it's worded, it only pertains to people who are renting or leasing for 60 days or less, and if you own it, you're not renting or leasing at all.
That's the full intentions, is the rental of properties.
These people, if you own a second home here, we're not saying you can't come.
All the safety measures apply. They need to come in and stay quarantined for a couple of weeks and try to follow all precautions till we can all get through this. Ryan, you have anything you want to add?
Not. Thank you. Nothing to add to the state of emergency, but a week from Saturday is opening day of trout season. And we usually have large numbers of folks come up here. And I don't know that we need to address that today. I just want to put that out for some thought and see if there's any measure that might need to be considered the early part of next week, because we will have a large number of folks that will be visiting the county potentially. And whether or not we believe that's a concern or not, I think is just, I'll offer that for consideration.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Daniel? Any add-ons?
I think Brian's pretty much covered. Oh, man.
Everybody needs their picture on TV here.
No, I think the folks that have spoke before me have pretty much summed it up. I mean, I kind of want to, just while I'm here, be the voice of reason for the citizens. I don't get real excited about a lot of things, but I want people to be cautious. Like was been said, if you don't need to come out, then don't come out. But at the same time, don't panic. We're all in it together. We're going to get through it. That's really all I have to say about it.
How many of those big road signs you got?
One right now.
There's one right there. Just thinking, do we need to put something out down on some of these roads or anything like that, and, to tell what's happening a little bit, or just?
I don't know how effective it would be to just have one big sign.
We need more than one. I thought we had more coming in.
Well, it's on order, but
Okay.
it's not here. So.
Gotcha.
Chairman, as we are going live, I would also like to reiterate what you just said, but I'm also asking the people that are watching this, that are watching it on YouTube, share this with everybody that you can, so everybody gets the word out. Call your relatives, call your folks, call your neighbors, and let them know what is taking place, because this is the way we're going to have to do things. If we could spread it like it spreads on Facebook, everybody will get the word very quick.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a comment about the grocery stores, I guess. I mean, farmers are still planting, and the delivery chains and the food supply is out there. We just need to slow down and buy what we need, and so everybody can have products out there to buy, and think about that thing just a little bit. But there is plenty of corn, there's plenty of wheat stockpiled everywhere. Anybody have anything else? And we want to go for a
Just a
vote.
question what's the number of people in a group that we still, is it 50, is it 10, or is it 100, or is it 200?
The recommendation is 10.
10.
You're in violation.
Well, the governor's getting ready to be on TV in about 30 minutes, and he's going to make it be 10.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? If we don't, we're going to call for a vote here. Got anything else? All right, all those in favor of, need a motion. Let me back up, excuse me.
Make a motion that we accept the modification to our resolution.
Second.
Second. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. 4-0. Mr. Prince is sitting back so we can do our distancing here. Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn, sir.
Hang on just one second. Can we discuss anything else, or is this it? Okay.
Before you adjourn,
Communication, though, is very important.
I think we need to get some press releases out to Channel 12 and
Relax.
we get him a copy or email it to him. Okay.
before you adjourn, Mr. Chairman, I just want to say, on behalf of the Sparta Town Council, we accept the proposed amendments to your declaration, and we will follow.
It's a fine thing. We're all on the same page, and that just works real great.
We're right there
We
with you.
appreciate everybody coming out this short notice today, and thank you guys for coming. Anybody has any other comments? No comments? We'll call this meeting adjourned.